You know I'm trying to record, dude. What's up, everybody? My name is Tyler, and this is Deep Red Pictures. And I'm coming to you live from my apartment. Mikey and I were not able to link up this weekend, unfortunately, so you're stuck with just me. And today, I'm going to be giving you my review for the new movie, Longlegs. Now, this is a movie that entered my radar some months back when I was first starting to see the promotional posters of it and everything like that. And I was like, oh, sounds interesting, an Oz Perkins movie with Nick Cage playing a serial killer. That could be cool. But I sort of just kind of put it out of my mind because I was like, I might catch it at some point. But in the past weeks, a lot of people who were watching it at festivals saying it was terrifying, that this is the scariest Nick Cage has ever been, one of his best roles ever. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe this actually is good. And as it got closer and closer, it kind of seemed like people were only liking it more and more. So I was able to go ahead and catch an early screening of it this past Thursday. Now, I'm going to be telling you what I liked, what I didn't like, and anything in between. So, starting off with the positives, the entire cast, particularly Mike Monroe and Nick Cage, phenomenal. Mike Monroe, I always like her and everything I've seen her in. She's kind of like a low-key scream queen. If you've never seen the movie The Guest or Watchers, I highly suggest it. I know that everyone is a big fan of It Follows, but that's something we can talk about in another video. And of course, Nick Cage. The hype was real when it came to him. I mean, he, first of all, props to hair and makeup. The prosthetics that they put on his face, along with the white makeup powder to make him look almost like dead, just A plus. The moments where he was the most subtle were the times that I felt the most frightened. This movie relies almost entirely on just dread and anxiety. This is definitely kind of I feel like if Alfred Hitchcock was still making movies, there was not a single shot in this movie where I felt safe or secure. I always felt like, okay, so there's not much going on in this scene. It seems like everything's okay. At the same time, I felt like at any moment the camera was going to pan over and somebody was going to be standing in the corner. There just hasn't really been a movie in recent memory that's made me feel that way. I'm a huge serial killer movie horror fan. Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, movie of all time. I love Seven. I love Zodiac. I love Exorcist 3. I really felt like this was a movie that I needed. Now, that being said, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. Going back to my positives of Nicolas Cage's performance, there are a few times where he amps it up just a little bit too much, to the point where it's like, there's the old Nick Cage we know and love. And that's my cat Maxine. Anyways, something else that didn't really mesh with me too well was, it's a very gritty, dark, bleak movie. Very realistic. And I feel like the tone really shifted when you enter the third act. It really edges into the supernatural, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Overall, with Oz Perkins' writing, I think that they did a good job. I still couldn't help but notice kind of just a shift in the movie. So, what I will say is that definitely those were really my only negatives. I could go on and on about my positives, but I'm going to keep it kind of short today. This movie won't be for everyone. And I know that that's often people kind of associate that statement in a very negative light. And I really don't mean it in a negative way. It is a slow burn horror movie. Obviously, the typical hyperbole that happens with every movie now, you're either going to hear that it's a masterpiece or you're going to hear that it's the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity. What I will say is, leave your expectations at the door. This is, no matter what you've heard, this isn't just Nicolas Cage's movie. I want to throw that out there. The whole main cast, like I said, excellent. And Oz Perkins writing and directing, I commend him. And I hope that, you know, I know that this probably won't get any like Oscar attention because the Academy tends to ignore horror movies for the most part. But I hope that it does get recognition come award season because everyone involved in this movie, I feel, did an extremely good job. And I really hope that this paves the way for more indie horror with original stories, because my theater was more than half of it was full, which for a Thursday night screening for an indie horror movie, that's pretty good, especially like in the age of most people just wait until it comes out on streaming. You know, overall, I love this movie. So far, it's one of my favorite of the year. I hope that, anyone who goes out and enjoys it, or excuse me, anyone that goes out and watches it enjoys it. But if you have seen it, what did you think about it? Did you love it too, or did you actually hate it? You know, if you haven't seen it, do you plan on seeing it? You know, jump to our comments, let us know, and we'll talk about it with you. Anyways, though, thanks for hanging out. I know, like I said, this is a short video today, but I just kind of wanted to talk about my thoughts on this movie. If you haven't seen it, I hope you go check it out. Came out this weekend, so, go support the filmmakers and catch a showing. But please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I do appreciate you guys, and I look forward to hanging out with you again next time. So you have a great rest of your day. I can't wait to see you again.